We are following this developing news. Long Beach police responding to the newly opened Marathon Burger in Long Beach. News Chopper 4 was up over the downtown area earlier today, where we saw several police vehicles outside of the restaurant. Right there you could see them. Police tape stretching across the parking lots, as well as into some apartments. Today was the grand opening of that new Marathon Burger location. Plenty of people. One person is dead. Multiple civilians shot. And the Opps came specifically hunting for Blacc Sam at what was supposed to be a family event. This ain't just another shooting. This is the second time gang violence has erupted at a Marathon Burger location. And what really went down will shock you. Blacc Sam was carrying on his brother's legacy, building something positive for community. But Long Beach gang politics had different plans. The Marathon Burger grand opening didn't just turn into a war zone. It exposed how deep these streets really run and why building in certain communities comes with deadly price. To understand how this family celebration became a crime scene, we got to go back to where this all started. Let's rewind to when Nippy first envisioned Marathon Burger. This wasn't just about selling food. This was about economic empowerment, giving the community something positive, something that represented growth. Nippy always talked about ownership, about creating businesses that would employ people from the neighborhood that would keep money circulating in the community instead of flowing out to corporations that don't care about the people. After Nippy's passing, Blacc Sam stepped up to continue that vision. And for real, the first Marathon Burger location in LA was actually a success story. The Crenshaw location was drawing crowds, bringing jobs to the community, and showing that positive business ventures could thrive in areas that outsiders had written off. People came through not just for the food, but because they wanted to support what Nippy represented. They wanted to be part of something bigger than just another restaurant. The LA opening had its own challenges, but the community rallied around it. You had celebrities showing love. You had local families making it a regular spot. You had young people getting jobs instead of getting in trouble. It was proof that Nip's vision could work, that economic development was possible even in areas that had been neglected by traditional businesses. But here's where it gets complicated. When you're building in certain neighborhoods, especially when you got that kind of name recognition, you're not just dealing with customers. You're dealing with politics, territorial beefs, and people who see your success as either a threat or an opportunity. Success in the hood comes with a target, and not everybody wants to see you win. Blacc Sam made the decision to expand to Long Beach, and that's where things started getting dangerous. Long Beach got its own gang landscape, its own politics, its own history of territorial disputes that go back decades. When you bring a high-profile business into that environment, you're automatically part of the conversation, whether you want to be or not. You're not just a business owner anymore. You're a symbol, a statement, and unfortunately, sometimes a target. Now, to really understand the situation, you got to know that this wasn't even the first incident at a Marathon Burger location. There was already tension brewing, already incidents that showed these businesses were becoming magnets for both positive support and negative attention. But Blacc Sam was committed to the vision, committed to serving the community his brother believed in, even knowing the risks involved. The decision to open in Long Beach wasn't taken lightly. This was about expanding the economic impact, about showing that the Marathon brand could succeed in multiple communities, about proving that Nip's vision wasn't limited to one neighborhood. But with that expansion came exposure to new sets of problems, new territorial issues, new groups of people who might not respect what you're trying to build. The problems started before the doors even opened. Long Beach has specific gang territories that have been established for decades. In the 80s, that's one of the most active sets in the area. They got ongoing beef with multiple other crews. These ain't just neighborhood disagreements. These are life and death conflicts that span generations where disrespect can lead to retaliation, where showing up in the wrong place can get you killed. When you announce a grand opening with celebrities, with millionaires, with community leaders all in one spot, that becomes a magnet for people who got nothing to lose and everything to prove. Gang members see celebrity events as opportunities to be seen, to make statements, to settle scores when their enemies least expect it. According to multiple witnesses who were there that day, there was this one young dude from the 8S who showed up solo to the grand opening. Now, this ain't normal behavior. You don't roll up to enemy territory by yourself unless you're either crazy or you got something planned. This fool starts straight up dissing his enemies right in the middle of the Marathon Burger openings. We're talking about a family event with Snoop Dogg Boy YG in attendance. And this dude is throwing up gang signs, saying disrespectful things about rival sets, really pushing his luck in a way that couldn't be ignored. The disrespect wasn't subtle either. According to sources who witnessed the incident, this 80s member was calling out specific enemies by name, making threats, acting like he owned the place. He was doing this surrounded by dozens of his enemies at an event that was supposed to be about community unity and positive change. The level of disrespect was so blatant that it couldn't be overlooked without consequences. But that's not even the crazy part. While he's out there wilding his enemies, and there's dozens of them at this event, they start approaching Blacc Sam. They're not trying to disrespect the opening, not trying to mess up what Nip's brother got going on, but they telling him this dude gotta go before something bad happens. They showing respect for the event, respect for the family, but making it clear that this level of disrespect can't continue without response. The conversation between the enemies and Blacc Sam was reportedly respectful but urgent. They explained the situation, explained who this dude was, and what kind of problems his presence was creating. They made it clear that if Blacc Sam didn't handle the situation, they would have to handle it themselves, and that would mean violence at a family event. Here's where it gets real. While these negotiations are happening, 3 more 8S members pull up to the scene. Now you got 4 80s surrounded by probably 100 enemies all at this family event that's supposed to be about community and progress. The 80s members who just arrived don't fully understand that their boy was in there causing problems. They just see their homies surrounded by enemies and assume the worst. The enemies tell Blacc Sam straight up, listen, he gotta go. And Blacc Sam, he's trying to keep the peace, try to maintain the integrity of the event while also recognizing the reality of the situation. He's caught between wanting to serve everyone and needing to prevent violence at his brother's legacy event. So he agrees and says he'll help escort the 8S members off the premises safely. This was Blacc Sam trying to do the right thing. He didn't want violence at the event, but he also didn't want to just abandon the 8S members to get attacked on his property. He was trying to find a solution that would respect everyone involved while keeping the family event peaceful. On this day, Long Beach was supposed to celebrate something positive. Marathon Burger's grand opening had celebrities, community leaders, families with children. It was everything Nippy envisioned when he talked about economic empowerment and bringing quality businesses to underserved communities. Kids were getting free food. Local leaders were giving speeches about economic development. And the atmosphere was supposed to be about hope and progress. But when Blacc Sam and his crew started walking those 400 80s members off the premises, none of them knew they were walking into a death trap that would be captured on multiple cameras and live streams. According to eyewitnesses on the scene, Blacc Sam was clear about his position from the beginning. He approached the 400 80s members respectfully and told them, I appreciate y'all coming. I appreciate the support for what we're building here. But the politics is politicking right now. Y'all gotta go, but we gotta escort y'all to safety. Where did y'all park at? We're gonna make sure y'all get to your cars without any problems. The 80s members agreed to leave because they trusted that Blacc Sam would protect them during the escort. They thought they were getting safe passage off the property and to their vehicles. But here's what they didn't understand. Blacc Sam wasn't about to get involved in Long Beach gang politics beyond getting them off Marathon Burger property. His responsibility was to his business, his family, and his brother's legacy, not to provide protection in ongoing gang conflicts. So they walk in with Blacc Sam and several of his crew members, providing what they thought would be safe escort to the parking area. The walk from the restaurant entrance to the edge of the property wasn't far, but it was long enough for tensions to build for the enemies to position themselves for the situation to become increasingly dangerous. When they reach the edge of the Marathon Burger premises, Blacc Sam stops. He tells the 80s members, this is as far as we can take y'all. We're not getting involved in Long Beach politics. Y'all on your own from here. This was Blacc Sam setting a boundary. He helped them off his property, but he wasn't going to escort them through enemy territory or get involved in street politics that had nothing to do with his business. The moment Blacc Sam and his crew stepped back, the enemies swarmed. We're talking about 4 dudes against what witnesses describe as close to 100 people. It wasn't even a fair fight. There was getting ragdolled, getting hooped bad, getting attacked from all directions. The enemies had been waiting for this moment, had been planning this response to the disrespect that happened inside the restaurant. But that young 80s member who was talking all that mess earlier, the one who started this whole situation with his disrespectful behavior, he pulls out his gun and starts shooting to get people off his crew. This is where everything went from a beatdown to a potential massacre. Because once guns come out in a crowd of hundreds of people, innocent civilians become targets. Here's the problem with gang members. Man, they think when they made their gun, that's when they stopped making guns. They act like they're the only ones armed, like pulling out a weapon is going to solve their problems instead of creating bigger ones. But everybody got guns in these situations. And when one person starts shooting, it becomes a war zone. So when this 80s member starts shooting, the enemies pull out their weapons and start shooting back. Now you got multiple people firing in different directions with civilians running for cover with families diving behind cars with complete chaos erupting in a parking lot that minutes earlier was filled with people celebrating a positive community business. The exclusive footage from that day shows the chaos that followed, and it's disturbing to watch. You got Blacc Sam running for cover with one of his people who got shot in the leg. You got Barry Gordon from No Jumper telling police, "I think I got shot while trying to process what just happened." You got civilians diving behind cars. You got people screaming for help. You got blood on the ground where minutes earlier kids were playing. 2 of the enemies got hit during the shootout, but they survived. Leg shots, grazing wounds, nothing life-threatening. They were rushed to the hospital and recovered. But that young 80s member who started all this with his disrespectful behavior, he didn't make it to the hospital. He died right there on the scene. And his death got captured on live stream with people in the comments saying, "Keep gifting and thank you for the donations," while a human being was fighting for his life. The most disturbing part of the footage is hearing someone live streaming say, "Keep gifting, guys," while a young man is bleeding out on the ground. It shows how desensitized we become to violence, how social media has turned tragedy into content, how people can watch someone die and still be focused on getting paid through their live stream. But the shooting took place so close to the Marathon Burger entrance that the entire crowd was still in range when it happened. Multiple civilians got shot, people who came to support a positive community business, people who brought their families to what they thought was a safe celebration, people who had nothing to do with gang politics but got caught in the crossfire anyway. The investigation that followed revealed the complexity of what really happened that day and exposed deeper issues about community safety and business development in certain areas. Long Beach police responded immediately with multiple units. Paramedics rushed to treat the wounded, and News Chopper 4 was overhead capturing the aftermath. Police tape stretching across parking lots, multiple crime scenes being processed, ambulances rushing people to hospitals. The crime scene was extensive because the shooting happened in such a crowded area. Police had to interview hundreds of witnesses, collect evidence from multiple locations, and piece together exactly what happened and who was responsible. Many of the witnesses were reluctant to cooperate with official investigations because they knew street consequences might follow for anyone seen as cooperating with law enforcement. In the immediate aftermath, you had celebrities, millionaires, community leaders, all traumatized by what they witnessed. Snoop Dogg, who came to support Nippy's legacy, had to experience gun violence at what was supposed to be a celebration of positive change. Big Boy, who regularly promoted community businesses on his radio show, witnessed firsthand why many businesses avoid investing in certain neighborhoods. Why, who grew up in similar communities, saw how quickly progress can be destroyed by street politics. According to sources close to the investigation, many of those high-profile attendees left saying they would never come back to support community events in certain areas again. That's the real tragedy. This incident didn't just claim lives and cause injuries. It damaged the possibility of future investment in communities that desperately need economic development and positive businesses. The ripple effects went beyond just the celebrities. Local families who attended the event with their children were traumatized. Community leaders who had promoted the restaurant opening as an example of positive change had explained to their constituents why their efforts to bring quality businesses to the area resulted in violence. The incident reinforced negative stereotypes about certain communities. and made it harder for future entrepreneurs to get support for business ventures in similar areas. But on the streets, the consequences were just beginning. The 80s lost one of their young members. And in gang culture, that means retaliation is coming. The enemies involved in the initial fight now got targets on their backs. The cycle of violence that Nippy always spoke against was perpetuating itself right at an event meant to honor his legacy and continue his work toward positive change. The death of the young 80s member wasn't just the end of one life. It was the beginning of potential ongoing retaliation that could claim more lives and further destabilize the community. Gang violence doesn't end with one incident. It creates cycles that can last for years, affecting families and communities long after the initial conflict. Meanwhile, Blacc found himself in an impossible position. He did everything right. He tried to defuse the situation peacefully. He offered safe escort off the premises. He didn't get involved in the gang politics that had nothing to do with his business. But because the shooting happened so close to his event with his name attached to the location, he's now part of the narrative whether he wants to be or not. A day of celebration turns into chaos. Gunfire erupts at a packed block party. The legal investigation is ongoing, but street justice moves faster than court cases. Law enforcement sources indicate they have clear video evidence of the shooting and have identified potential suspects. But getting witnesses to cooperate and building prosecutable cases in gang-related violence is always challenging. This Marathon Burger shooting changed the conversation about community investment forever. What happened in Long Beach wasn't just another gang incident. It was a direct attack on the possibility of positive change in certain neighborhoods, and it sent a message that could impact economic development efforts for years to come. Blacc Sam's response to this situation is going to determine a lot about how Nip's legacy moves forward. The question he faces now is whether to continue trying to build in communities that clearly got safety issues, whether to relocate future locations to areas where families can actually enjoy a burger without worrying about getting caught in crossfire, or whether to double down on the original vision, knowing that meaningful change requires accepting significant risks. The hip-hop community learned something important from this incident that goes beyond just one restaurant opening. You can have all the money, all the celebrity support, all the good intentions in the world. But if the culture of violence is stronger than the culture of progress, your positive efforts can become tragic endings. The presence of successful artists like Snoop Dogg, Big Boy, and YG wasn't enough to prevent violence. In fact, their presence might have made the event a bigger target for people looking to make statements or settle scores. This incident also exposed the limitations of celebrity involvement in community development. While having famous supporters can bring attention and resources to positive projects, it can also attract negative attention from people who see high-profile events as opportunities for violence or who resent the success of others in their community. Today, the Marathon Burger location in Long Beach remains closed while investigations continue. And while the family decides whether it's safe to reopen, the LA location is still operating, still serving the community, still representing that vision of economic empowerment that Nippy believed in. But the question remains, how many more incidents before that vision becomes impossible to sustain? The economic impact extends beyond just Marathon Burger. Other entrepreneurs who are considering investing in similar communities are now having second thoughts. Business owners who were inspired by Nippy's example of economic empowerment are questioning whether it's worth the risk. The shooting didn't just affect one family or one business. It potentially damaged the prospect for economic development in communities that desperately need legitimate businesses and job opportunities. No cap, this situation shows why some communities can't be served until they serve themselves differently. When gang members got more influence than business owners. When territorial beef is more important than economic opportunity. When violence is the first response to disrespect instead of the last resort. Those communities ain't ready for the businesses they claim they want. The tragedy is that the people who suffer most from this dynamic are the families who want positive change, who want safe places to shop and eat, who want job opportunities for their children. They become hostages to the violent actions of a small percentage of people in their communities, and they lose out on economic opportunities because business owners can't guarantee safety for customers and employees. Blacc was trying to honor his brother's memory, trying to create something positive, trying to bring jobs and opportunity to Long Beach. But the same people who complain about lack of investment in their communities are the same ones who make investment impossible through their actions. The young 80s member who died that day didn't just rob himself of a future. He robbed his entire community of a business that could have employed dozens of people, served thousands of families, and represented positive change. That's the real tragedy here. It ain't just about one shooting, one death, one closed restaurant. It's about the message this sends to every other entrepreneur who might have been thinking about investing in communities that need it most. When violence becomes predictable, when safety can't be guaranteed, when gang politics override economic development, those communities get left behind, and they got nobody to blame but themselves. The broader implications for hip-hop culture are also significant. Nippy's vision of economic empowerment through community business ownership was inspiring a generation of artists and entrepreneurs to invest in their home communities. But incidents like this make that vision seem naive or dangerous, potentially discouraging others from following his example. Blacc Sam's response to his ops shooting up the restaurant opening is going to be watched closely by everyone who believes in Nip's vision. Does he retreat and move operations to safer areas? Does he relocate and abandon communities that might need businesses the most? Or does he find a way to continue building despite the obstacles, perhaps with increased security measures that change the nature of community engagement? The answer to that question might determine whether Nip's legacy of economic empowerment lives on or becomes another example of how street violence destroys positive progress. For real, though, until communities decide that progress is more important than politics, that businesses are more valuable than beef, that family events should be sacred spaces where violence ain't tolerated. Stories like this going to keep repeating themselves. The people who suffer most are the families who just want to support something positive in their neighborhood, who brought their children to celebrate a community business, who believe that change was possible. They're the ones who lose access to quality businesses, who lose job opportunities, who lose hope that their communities can be places where positive things can exist without being destroyed by violence. This incident will be remembered not just as another shooting, but as a symbol of how communities can destroy their own opportunities for progress and how the vision of positive change can be threatened by those who claim to be part of the community, but whose actions damage everyone around them.